Hello and welcome. Today, we are diving into a topic that is, well, pretty intense, but the science behind it is absolutely fascinating. We're going to break down the biological mechanics of lethal injection. Now, we are not getting into the politics or the moral debates here. We are strictly looking through the lens of science and biology to understand exactly how the human body reacts to these chemicals, what is actually happening on a cellular level. Let's get right into it. So, our main question for today is just that. What exactly happens inside the body during a lethal injection? When these highly potent chemicals enter a person's system, how do their organs, their nervous system, and their blood chemistry actually respond? Keeping a strict scientific detachment, we're just going to decode this physiological response. Okay, let's dive into this. Inside the execution chamber, the starting point. Before any chemical agents are even introduced, the physical setup looks like this. The subject is secured to a gurney, basically a medical bed. Then, intravenous or IV lines are inserted directly into their arms. These IV lines essentially create a direct highway, allowing the chemicals to shoot straight into the bloodstream for an immediate effect. From there, a systematic biological cascade begins, known as the three-drug protocol. It's a procedure divided into three distinct chemical phases. First up is pentobarbital, which is a sedative. Second is pancuronium bromide, a paralytic. And finally, potassium chloride, which triggers cardiac arrest. We're going to walk through these three stages systematically, starting with the brain, moving down to the lungs, and ending at the heart. Days 1, pentobarbital. Here, we're focusing entirely on the first drug's effect on the brain. First off, what even is pentobarbital? It's a highly potent barbiturate sedative. The moment it enters the bloodstream through that IV line, it acts directly on the brain's neurotransmitters at a microbiological level. Neurotransmitters are basically the brain's chemical messengers. They send the signals that control every single function in your body. Now, what's really interesting here is how slowing down that communication between brain cells kicks off a massive domino effect. Pentobarbital severely slows down cell-to-cell communication in the brain. Because of this, the brain literally starts losing control over the body's respiratory and cardiovascular systems. It just stops sending the right signals to the lungs and the heart, causing both the breathing and the heart rate to drop rapidly. The physical result of this microscopic change is fast and very obvious. The subject starts feeling incredibly drowsy. Within moments, they become confused, and then their consciousness, their awareness of the world around them, just completely fades away. They slip into a deep, unnatural, coma-like state. Which brings us to phase 2, pancuronium bromide and the onset of total muscle paralysis. To really grasp this, we have to look at the connection between our nerves and our muscles. Under normal conditions, your nerve impulses, those electrical signals, reach your muscles, which is what allows you to move your arms, walk, and even breathe. But pancuronium bromide is a paralytic agent. It completely blocks the acetylcholine receptors at the neuromuscular junction. So even if the brain tries to send a signal to move, it never reaches the muscles. The connection is totally cut off. And the scope of this blockade is absolutely massive. It causes the complete paralysis of all skeletal muscles, every single one. But the most critical part here is that this includes the vital muscles we need to breathe, specifically the diaphragm and the intercostal muscles between the ribs. They become completely frozen. Because the diaphragm is paralyzed, the chest becomes completely immobile. It literally cannot expand or contract anymore. And since the chest can't expand, the lungs can't pull in any air. It's a direct cause and effect that leads straight to respiratory arrest. The entire breathing process just shuts down. And that leads us straight to the final link in this biological chain, phase 3. Potassium chloride, and cardiac arrest. And this brilliantly illustrates the delicate electrochemical harmony that literally keeps us alive. Normally, your heart relies on a very precise ratio of potassium and sodium ions in the blood to govern its rhythmic contractions. It has to be perfect. But when a massive dose of potassium chloride floods the bloodstream, it completely disrupts that delicate balance. It throws the whole system into a state of chaotic disarray. The physical result of this sudden chemical chaos is drastic. The heart forgets its normal rhythm and spirals into an abnormal, chaotic state, what doctors call an arrhythmia. And because the heart isn't pumping properly anymore, the entire circulatory system just grinds to a halt. The heart stops working. The final system shutdown, the cascade of organ failure. Let's look at this systemic collapse chronologically. In phase 1, when the lungs were paralyzed and respiratory failure hit, the brain was starved of fresh oxygen. Then, when the heart stopped in phase 3, the circulatory system shut down, meaning whatever oxygenated blood was left stopped moving entirely. Because of this, all the vital organs, the liver, the kidneys, are completely cut off from vital nutrients. Finally, due to that oxygen starvation, the brain suffers catastrophic, irreversible damage. There is no coming back. So the crucial point is the timing. This entire biological dismantling is incredibly fast. Within approximately 1 minute of that final potassium chloride injection, the heart takes its very last beat, just 60 seconds. All of this leaves us with a pretty profound question. How does a simple shift in basic cellular chemistry so rapidly and ruthlessly dismantle the incredibly complex biology of the human body? It really shows you just how dependent our organs are on each other and how fragile our existence actually is, balancing on just tiny ions and neurotransmitters. I really hope you found this deep dive into the biochemistry as fascinating as I do. Keep that curiosity alive, and I will catch you next time with another explainer.